On today's chest workout, I'm going to be focusing a lot on my upper portion of the chest. Many of these exercises that you're going to see today are all to perform one job, and that's to put a lot of the stress on the upper region of the chest. So you're not going to see as much of the typical bench presses, cable or dumbbell flies. This is more about variation and principles, training sets within those exercises. The first exercise here, upper chest, but instead of sat down onto that incline bench, I'm actually stood up and I have the bench raised up at a higher incline than I would normally. The purpose of this is using a narrower grip as opposed to a standard overhand grip. A lot more of the tension, I feel, is on the upper region of the chest. This is very different than if I'm performing an incline or a flat bench and I've got the weight more evenly dispersed across the full width of my pectorals. The purpose of this, like I said, is to focus more on the upper region of the chest, having to manage more of that work. So there's more stress being placed on the upper pectorals. Yes, there is a lot of the anterior delt coming in, but that's part of sort of that chest shoulder complex. So I'm okay working the front deltoid as long as I'm getting a lot of that tension and a great pump in my upper chest. You saw also on here, progressively taking the weights up on each set, 10, 15, 20% at most. And then I'm using a drop set for that final working set. 5 or 6 heavy reps. I'm taking a good portion of that weight off, dropping it down by about 30%, and then just doing as much as I've got left with that focus of contracting and squeezing the chest at the top. Give this a try. Now let's move on, have a look at exercise number 2. Nothing new here as far as an incline dumbbell press, but you'll notice that I'm starting on a pretty steep incline, fairly heavy weight. It's pushing me towards failure along that 7th or 8th rep. And then each set, and I'm having about 30, 40 seconds rest in between, I'm gonna drop the bench down, just one click. So there's about 5 sets here from that incline all the way down to near flat. I'm gonna stick with the same weight. So what I'm doing here is working the chest through a much larger range of motion than I would if I'm stuck on a set incline and either sticking with the same weight or progressively taking the weight up. You'll see on this one, I'm using the same weight all of the time until that final drop set. So really I'm allowing fatigue to catch me. I'm not trying to increase the weight because it starts off really tricky up at the top, and as I lower that bench down to more of a horizontal plane, it becomes easier, but I'm also more fatigued. So it's kind of finding that balance point between it. My chest is feeling really pumped. I've worked it from an incline all the way down towards a flat. Full range of motion, bringing that dumbbell all the way down towards my chest. So really great stretch here. And then as I extend my arm back up, I'm consciously squeezing and engaging my chest up at the top. That final drop set, I reach my failure. I'm gonna drop the bench down to an absolute flat and then just rep out with a 50-pound dumbbell going down from a 75-pound dumbbell. So chest has been worked through a lot of different angles now, a lot of different ranges. It's feeling good now. I'm gonna move on, focus on some isolation exercises before I start to incorporate in some flies from various angles and different weights and methods. So let's go check it out. So with exercise number 3, this is an isolateral incline press, a hammer strength. Basically I'm doing a machine press, but I'm isolating one side at a time. The benefit of this, I find, is that by positioning my body slightly inwards to that arm, I'm able to really feel the upper region of the chest have a much deeper contractile tension as I extend up. I also find it very good for working through a sticking point. If, like me, you've ever done a bench press or a dumbbell press, and you find that as you start to extend through and flex the elbow, you get that sticking point where you often need a helping hand to push you past. I feel that this machine, depending on how low you have the seat, and for me I have it probably lower than most, so I'm pushing upwards slightly, it's really working the ligaments and getting that angle when I have to push through that sticking point. So towards the end of my working set, I do a drop set. I actually start out with as heavy as I can manage for about 10 quarter reps. So I'm only working through a limited range of motion, pretty much all the way down, extending up so my elbow comes past my chest and then back down. That really pushes me beyond my threshold. I then drop the weight, full extension at the arm, gives me a tremendous pump in my chest. Another great thing I love about using machines within the chest workout is that they do offer a fixed range of motion. So I'm not having to involve other muscle groups that I would when I'm doing a free weight exercise or even cable. That's the great thing about this particular chest workout. I'm incorporating a lot of free weights, machines, I'm isolating, I'm using compound multi-joint lifts. There's a whole range of variety and different training principles incorporated into this routine to fully ensure I'm working an overall chest, but also focusing more on the upper portion of the chest and using a lot of drop sets and rest pauses to be able to push past that threshold and push it up a little bit more. So we're about halfway through the workout. It's going really well so far. I'm going to move on. I'm going to start to focus on some dumbbell flies and add in a circuit back and forth with that exercise as well. So let's get to it. So now with 3 presses out the way, I've got a lot of blood pulled into my chest. Feeling really good with that extension. I now need to incorporate some flies in, which is the natural movement of the pectorals, this kind of wing-like or tree hug action. My focus here is to really focus on the outer portion of the chest, which is when the chest is opened out to its fullest. So instead of just doing straight sets of open and close, I'm actually going to focus first on that lower quarter movement. Opening the weight all the way out and going fairly heavy on here. Actually heavy enough that I can't fully close my arms up. So I'm opening within that first third of the movement. Pulsing, if you like, but I'm controlling each rep. 7, 8 reps here, and then you see by the second work set, I'll include a drop set. So after I've maxed out as much as I can manage with that, so really good stretch here. You see my elbow is slightly bent, therefore it's the pectoral doing the work. If I lengthen out my arm, my tricep becomes activated and it's going to take some tension away from the chest. So it's important if your focus is on that outer region to always keep a slight bend in the elbow and not fully extend the arm. So the first working set, I'm only working that lower third of the movement as heavy as I can. The second working set, I'm going to do the same but add a drop set in, lower the weight down and then fully close up my arms, get that nice full range of motion, including the stretch and that peak contraction up at the top, which I'm not getting on the first work set. And for the third work set, I'll include a tricep or an additional drop set where I'll also increase the angle of the bench, which works my chest through a larger range of motion, different angles than just by sticking with a flat bench. So 2 more exercises left. I'm going to superset these. I'm going to do some parallel bar dips and tie them in with some cable flies. Final superset here, parallel bar dips, which I know many people think it's probably for the triceps. It is, or it can be, a great tricep exercise. However, by tilting forwards at the waist, you put a lot of that emphasis on the lower region of the chest. So you're kind of projecting your chest down, and then as you push back up, actively squeezing your chest together. It's technically more of a chest exercise than a tricep exercise. So I'm supersetting the parallel bar dips, sometimes adding a weight, whether it's a dip belt or, as you see with the dumbbell, in between my legs. This makes it easy to include a drop set within that exercise. I simply just remove that weight or let it fall down and then carry on with my body weight acting as the resistant. Moving on to the cable flies, I've opted for a machine type cable fly, a fixed cable fly, so that I can really focus and isolate that fly type movement. However, I am still changing up the angle. I'm doing some high flies, even some lower, and also some midpoint flies. So that would be my main tip here. Regardless whether you're doing it with a free range cable fly or a fixed cable fly machine like I'm doing it here, vary the angle of the fly. Don't just stick always with this one. Angle it upwards, take it down. If the cable machine has movable arms, then you can also bend forward and bring the hands underneath the chest. Another great exercise there. 3 sets here. Not really worrying too much about the reps. This is at the end of the chest workout, so I'm just looking to get the most out of each rep and really focus on that contraction, squeeze at the end, and that full range of motion. So lots of different variations within this chest workout. I'm not saying that you should follow every exercise as I've done. This video is really just a showcase of many of the exercises that I'll either use within my workout or I'll alternate. So be sure to check out more of my Facebook. I've got a lot more videos on there, and you've got links to the full article so that you can actually look and study each exercise start to finish and make sure that you're performing it and executing it correctly. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Make sure you have subscribed. We've got new videos coming every week, so check those out. I'll be back soon. Take care.